Hello there and welcome to my ICT Hub. This is John, your ICT tutor, where we make ICT concepts easier. Today again we'll be looking at spreadsheet application, and I'll be using the May June 2024 paper 3.2 as we solve it to explain things in the spreadsheet. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive in. Okay, here we have the May June IGCSE ICT Information and Communication Technology, paper 3.2, written last year. Alright, it's a paper that's made up of both spreadsheet and website authoring. Alright, let's quickly dive into the questions as we start. First part is the task 1 evidence documents. We've seen the source files have been given. Now let's start with evidence documents. Create a new word processed document. Okay, since we'll be dealing with Word, let's open our Word document. Alright, there we go. What will this be? Just for, so you may take note that I'm using Microsoft Office 2021 version as I solve this question. Okay, now it says make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. Once again, this is either in the header or the footer. Is the only part where whatever information you place on the first page will appear on the same position on every part of the document. So we want to go to insert. Either you're going to use the header or the footer, but I choose to go with the header. So you might want to use your placeholders, a single one or the triple one. So I just go with a single one since I'm having just one information. And information is my name, that's John, center number, and candidate number. You want to align it to the right or to the left, whichever location it is okay with you. I want to take mine to the right and I'm fine. So once you are done with that, you want to close your header and footer. Let's go back to the question. Save the document in your work area as J2 evidence underscore followed by your center number and candidate number. The format is not emphasized, so whichever way you save it, whatever format you give it, not that important. Alright, so we have there, I want to save it where my source file is. Okay, that's evidence followed by center number and candidate number. Now take note, even when you are practicing, please ensure you do everything, try to work with your evidence document when practicing. A number of my students prefer to work without the evidence document because they feel it's just, well, something we know, but it's good you practice and you get familiar with it so that every point in time, whatever you need to paste as your evidence document, you also get familiar with it as you practice on the main application. So I advise, even in your practice, try and make use of your evidence document. Use everything the question says when practicing. Okay, now we go down to the question. Task 2 says the spreadsheet. Open and examine the file j32 giraffe.csv. Alright, let's go to the source file and open that. Here we have a giraffe. Okay, there it is. So we can examine it. Let's just double click on that. Okay. Sorry. Okay, yes, everything is fully visible this way. Alright, let's go back and see what it says. This file will be used in steps 2 and 3, so do not make any changes to this file. Okay, basically just making everything visible. I've not made any main changes to it. Everything is still the way it is, so I think we are good. Open and examine the file j32 sightings.csv. So let's go to sightings. Okay, there we have sightings.csv. Let's open it up. Okay, here we are. Save the file j32 sightings.csv as a spreadsheet with the file name giraffe underscore followed by your center number, candidate number, for example, this. Okay, now we want to save it as a spreadsheet. Remember, right now it is a CSV file, that's .csv. It's not saved as a spreadsheet. So we will be changing that file to a spreadsheet. Let's see how to do that. Sorry, this is the file. So we want to go to our file, save as, browse. First, I want to change it to an Excel document. Alright, Excel workbook, sorry. Then I want to paste the name, center number, and candidate number. All right, there we go. And let's save it. Yes, so that's saved. Now back to the question. It says rows 7 to 25 will show the number of sightings. The number of sightings, that's from row 7 to 25, of the tagged giraffes in each country for 1 week in February. All right, rows 28 onwards shows the details of all sightings for this week. Okay, 725 will be the numbers. 728 shows the details. Now place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the header. Let's just quickly take a look at that. Sorry, here we are, rows 7 to 25. Okay, then below we have the details. All right, fine. I say let's go to this header and footer. Go to your view. You want to use the page layout. Here you can easily see the header above, and below you can see the footer. All right, so now let's go back. We say we want to place what? Place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the header. So at the center, you want to place your name, candidate number, center number, and candidate number. Okay, that is done at the center. Place the text created on, let me copy that, followed by a space, automated date, space, then the text at, followed by a space, and then the automated time, and in the footer. Now, which part of the footer is not specified. Automated time at the footer. Let's take a look again. Text followed by this. All right, so we could choose any part of the footer since it was not specified from the question. Let's go to the footer. I want to go with the left. All right, we'll start with that statement with the space followed by automated dates. So we want to go to the header and footer. Here you have the options of various things. You have the page number. Here we have number of pages. We are looking for the date. So we have the current date. That's the automated date. Followed by a space. Then followed by the text at. Followed by a space. And then followed by the time in the footer. So I'm going to type at, space, and then the time. Here we have the current time. This is current date, which we used. And now the current time in the footer. So that is done. Okay, so let's save that. If that is done, you want to save. Okay, let's move on. Place a replicable formula. Okay, we are done in the header and footer, so we want to change our view back to the normal view. So change your view back to the normal view. All right, so you're back here. Okay, now place a replicable formula in cell D28. Now you can see a number of these texts are overlapping. Just for easy, because we are not yet formatting, let's double click just so we can see everything clearly. Okay, so we are good. Now everything is fully displayed. Okay, we can work with this till we are giving instructions on how to format it. Let's go on. Now place a replicable formula in cell D28 to look up the species using the code and the text, the XML file this for array. So meaning we are going to be making use of a lookup. Now whether it's going to be a VLOOKUP or it's going to be a HLOOKUP is going to be determined by what the array looks like. Now here the code is going to be a lookup value, which is the value you are going to be picking from the document and taking to the array where you want to compare it and return the specific file or specific detail you want. The detail we need now is we are looking up the species, but we are using the code as our lookup value. So let's go down there. We have D28. Let's locate D28. Here is 28. Here is column B. Okay, so this is where we want the formula to be. We are going to be making use of code as our lookup value. Let's take a look at the other file. All right, here we have the codes displayed vertically. So now that the codes are displayed vertically, we are going to be searching through the codes vertically before you pick the corresponding column that has the species, which is going to be the third column in this situation. So we are making use of a VLOOKUP because you can see the codes are placed vertically, not horizontally. So when Excel is going to be searching. It will search through these codes vertically. When it finds the code you want, then it's going to look through horizontally to find the corresponding column where you need the value you want to look up, which is the species. And here we have column 1, 2, and 3 is where our species is located. So let's go back and start the VLOOKUP. Here is where we want our VLOOKUP. We go to our formulas. Okay, let's start a VLOOKUP. Do you have it here? Okay, here I have it in my list. So let's just click. If you don't have it in your list, you can, sorry, let me just show you what to do again. If you don't have it here, if you've not used it before, you could just type VLOOKUP from this part. You want to use the VLOOKUP or just lookup. And it will give you the options, so you pick your VLOOKUP, whether you have the HLOOKUP, sorry, the lookup, HLOOKUP, and then the VLOOKUP. So we want to make use of the VLOOKUP, so you pick that. The first thing it asks is the lookup value. Remember, its question says we use the code as a lookup value, so you click on the code here. The array, table array, is going to be the external file, which is this. Do not select the headings because these are not values, these are just field headers. So you want to click column headers and drag from the column where the code is to the column where you are the particular information you want to return. You could go all the way, but I don't think it's necessary since we are returning the species. So we can stop here, highlight all the values you need. Then which of these columns will you be returning? That's where we have the column index number, speaks about which column, where is the information you need that you want to return. So we are looking for the species. We are using the code as a reference to locate the species from the question. So we want to pick, that's column 3. So you type in your value 3. For this, basically it's just either you are using the 0 or 1, which stands for 0 stands for false, and while 1 stands for true. Now in this situation, if you use 0, that means you want an exact match of your lookup value in the array before it picks whichever corresponding value as the species which you want to return. But if you want kind of like you want something, just an assumption or something that looks like it, then you can go with 1. But most of the time in these examinations, you'll be using 0 or the false, which is the exact match which you want to return. And here we can see there's an answer displayed, so you want to click OK, and that is displayed there. Let me double click. Alright, so now that has returned the value that we need. It's a replicable value. It has, if we take a look at this, okay, it's pointed to this, which is a relative referencing. The array is absolute because it's coming from an external file. We have the value, which is still remains, that is the index number, and then the last one. So let's go on. Let's have this. Okay, let's continue on this question. Now that we've done that, let's go back to a question. The next thing says, place a replicable formula again in F28. Now, what is this going to do? To look up the status using the code and the external file again. So let's go to the external file first. Let's take a look at where the status is. Okay, this is in column, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are using column 6. Let's go to F28. Okay, here is F28. Once again, you are using your VLOOKUP. We already have it selected. VLOOKUP, the index number is going to be the code. Pick on that. Alright, the lookup array is going to be the external file. This time is going to include the status because we need the status. We are returning what column? That's the column index number. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me move this away. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Instead of moving it away, I could just minimize this way. Alright. So we have 3, 4, 5, and status is on 6. So I'm going to be typing 6 there because I'm returning column 6 and my range lookup is 0. Or I'm going to use false here this time so you can see false, which any of the two works. So we have that returned. Double click to have a full view of this. Alright, let's go back to the question. Now we've done that. What the next question says? Replicate the formula entered in steps 2 and 3 for all sightings. So these are, let's go. These are all the sightings. We did a formula in D. Let's hold a fill handle and click on that and drag down to all the sightings, down to to the last row. Yes, that is displayed. Then we go to D also. Column F. Let's drag the fill handle again. Make sure it's the bottom right. You want to use the fill handle to drag it down to the last row. Okay, and it's all fully displayed. Alright, now that has been done. Okay, you can save your work and you move on. Alright, let's go to the next aspect. It says place in cell B3 a formula to count the total number of sightings for this 7-day period. If you remember, we were told that from 28 down is the details for all the sightings for the 7-day period. So we want to count how many of these details do we have, how many. Each row represents a detail for a sighting. So we want to count how many sightings were made within this period, and it's going to be placed in, let's just check that again. It's going to be placed in cell B3. So here I'm having cell B3. I want to count. So let's go. We're going to be using, if we just use count function, the count deals with numbers. But in this situation, I want to use any of the cells. So basically, I want to use the function that just tells me any column that is not empty. And that's the count A function. So we'll be using the count A function. Let's take a look. Let me just type count. Right, so we have the different options. This one counts numbers. Here we have count A in the range that is not empty. All right, that looks like a preferable one to use. So we go with that. Where is the value? Okay, let me minimize this. You want to count, you can pick any of the cells. Let me go with a code. I pick this column. I want to count using this. Anyone you use, it's okay. Okay, I think that is all. And click on OK. So it's going to give me, we have 70 countings were made, or 70 sightings, I beg your pardon, was made within this week. Now let's go back to the question. The next question says, place in cell B4 a formula to count the total number of sightings for the 7-day period where, now the condition is given. I was wondering if it's almost the same thing. But here we say within the 7-day period where a photograph of a critically endangered species was taken. Now two things are in that word. Photograph and a critically endangered species. So let's take a look at the detail. Okay, from the table we have here, this is the status here tells us about the critically endangered species, where we have critically endangered species, and the photograph. Okay, the information about the photograph is going to be gotten from here. Okay, here we have yes for photograph evidence, we have no. So what we want to count now in this situation is where we have critically endangered species and we also have a photograph evidence. So we are counting it based on two conditions. The condition first, is it critically endangered? The secondly, do we have a photograph evidence? That's the second thing. Those two conditions are going to be taken into cognizance in this counting. So let's see how to do that. We are doing that in B24. All right. So the first thing you want, now the count, we have the count A, which is counts cells that are not empty. So the count itself counts numbers. But this now is a count with a condition. Let's take a look at which. Okay, we have the count blank. No, we have the count if. Now, if we take a look at this, this one is going to be counting a range with the given condition. That's just one. But we want this. Now, this is going to be giving us how many conditions? All right, because we are counting two conditions. We have the one counting, telling us if it is critically endangered, then also the one that will tell us if it is a photographic evidence was captured. So the first thing it says, where do we want to count the range? Let me minimize this. Okay, let's go to the first range. Let's use the critically endangered. I'm going to be highlighting down this part of this column rather. Okay, now what is the condition for this column? I want critically endangered. Okay, so I'm going to be typing critically endangered. All right, that's a condition. And the second one says, now you can see that's counted that, that's 13. But what's the second condition now is we want from this column. So I'm going to be highlighting this column down to the end. Okay. Yes, from this column, I want to count how many of them has yes. That is, there is a photographic evidence. So now it's going to take the two conditions. Wherever it says critically endangered, it will count. Then it has to merge if where those critically endangered are, do we have yes? Then it's going to consider the two before it counts it. You could have multiple conditions in the count ifs. It's not just two. You could have more than two conditions to count. So in this situation, we have just two conditions and we have set those criteria. You see this has reduced to 12. So we click on our OK, and yes, we have 12 displayed there. Now let's go back and let's continue. The next question says insert a new row between row 5 and 6. So I want to insert a new row between row 5 and 6. This is 5. I want a row in between. So I'm going to be going to 6 because the new row will be inserted above or is below. Let's take a look. If I click on 5, let's insert a new row. I go here, insert, cell, no, I want to insert a new row. Okay, so we click here and it's inserted just above 5. So, and that's not what I want. I want it between 5 and 6. So I'm going to be clicking on 6. Like I said, the new row is going to go above the highlighted row, and that's the new row inserted there. All right. Now what are we going to do? Place in cell A6 the text critically endangered. This is A6 now. I want to place in that cell critically endangered. I just copied that. You could have typed that. Now place a replicable formula in cell B8. Now we have our B8. This is B8 now. Okay. What is this formula going to do? To display the number of sightings of a critically endangered species in this country. Okay. Now there are two criteria here. We are looking for endangered species and it must match with a particular country. So let's take a look at, okay, here we have the list of the countries. So that means if we take a look at our detailed, we have the column here on country and we have the column that covers the critically endangered species. So once again, we are going to be counting where we can see critically endangered and that matches with this country. So our criteria is going to be this country and critically endangered species. So let's write that again, or let's generate a formula. Once again, we are using the count ifs because we have more than one criteria. So where the first criteria, let's take the first criteria or range B for the critically endangered. So I want to highlight this. Okay. There. And the second is going to be, I want it to be critically endangered. All right. Did it count? Yes, again, it's 13. Now the second criteria is it's going to be counting, checking from the country, please. Now I wanted the country. So here we have our country. Click on the country column down to the last one there. Okay, the count is how you have to ensure that the size of the columns which you are comparing the criteria are the same in size for the count is to work. All right, so after that, then what is the criteria? The criteria is this country. So instead of just typing the country, I could just click on the cell itself. Let's pick it, from this cell. Okay, yes. So instead of keep typing down, you could save yourself the stress, just pick the cell and it will pick it. Now, once we are done with that, if I click on OK, it's going to give me a value, but let's take a look at something. I know there should be an error somewhere because we're going to be replacing this down. Let's take a look. We will replace this down. Okay, sightings. Now replicate this formula like I said for each country. So if I just pull my fill handle, I might not get the correct thing. Now why is that? Let's take a look at it. For the first one, yes, I have highlighted. Let's go to the third. Let's take a look. Now, can you notice something? It's moving because it's a relative referencing. It's going to be moving, but we want this to be absolute because we want the group that has been highlighted, this the country and the status should remain the same. So that way, that means I want to make this an absolute value. So you come into your where you have the range. First for the country, you want to make that absolute. You could use F4 on your keyboard. So I'm going to use F4 on my keyboard. Right, click on this, or you just type your $sign before and after the column and the row reference. Okay, I have F4 here, and also going to be placing F4 there. Good, but this no, because this is the country reference, so I don't want that to be absolute. I want it to keep changing as I drag down. So let's hit our enter key. Let's do it again. Let me use the fill handle now, drag it down. Okay, now let's take a look at this again. Let's see. All right, yes, it's fixed. So even up to the last, if we go to the last country, let's check it. Yes, we see the selection still remains fixed because we've made it absolute. So this is how to make your selections or your references absolute. So once we're done with that, let's move on to the next question. Okay, here we come to the formatting now. Format the top of your spreadsheets to look like this. Okay, any detail, make sure that A1 to B1 and A6 to B6 are made. Yes, set the font size of the text in rows 1 and 6 to 20 points. Okay, that's all information we have. Take a look at this. When you are formatting, there are three things that IGCSE looks out for: the alignment of the text, the size of the row and the columns as you have been given, and then your internal grid lines. All right, so let's take note of this text. If you look at this text, it's merged and it's also wrapped into two lines. So I want to go back. Let me highlight this too. Let's merge it. All right, center aligned, and it should be wrapped. Remember, it says it should set it at font size of what? Font size of 20 points. So let's go to 20 points. Okay, here I come. Let's also do this. Let me merge it. I want to wrap the text, and I want to set it to font size of 20. Okay, it should be bold. Same here, bold. But the sizes are not yet. Okay, you can see this is also wrapped. Now the size of this row is halved, so I want to make this half. I'm going to come here, reduce the size. Then I want to reduce this length in, make this text wrapped text. Then I can enlarge it. Ensure that the text is wrapped. Send line to the top. Okay, that means the size is still big. I want to reduce the size. Come on. Oh, sorry, I'm doing the wrong thing. Let's drag this back. And let's increase this size. Reduce this. See, 7D. Okay, now this is aligned to the right. Okay, the same here. We're going to wrap this also. It's currently, so align it to the right. Okay, it doesn't look like it. Yes, width and paragraph, perfect. Then we have this aligned to the center. Let's take a look at. Okay, I think it's center aligns for everything. So let's just highlight this and align everything to the center. Here we have this large and wrapped. Okay, I'm going to wrap this text, make this smaller. Number of sightings, and let me wrap that. Okay, yes, it's bold. Same with the country is also bold. Then take a look at the location inside the middle, align to the middle. Yes, I think the same with this. Make that center aligned also. Then we also have another half row here, so I'm going to make row 5 half. Yes, the size is small there. Okay, what else? Okay, we have the alignments for these countries to the right, so you want to highlight all the countries down the last country, align to the right. Okay, let's take a look at it. I think we are good now. Let's make it bigger and compare the two. Okay, this is still, so we have to make this bigger. Side things. So if this is still full, and that means our size is still a bit too big. Let's take a look at this. Let's reduce on the country. Okay, critically endangered phone. Yes, I think we are good now. All right, critically endangered is more like what is used to measure the full length. All right, I want us to reduce this a little bit. Okay, looks close to it. Yes. All right, now we have this aligned to the center. This aligned to the center. Do we have that here? Yes. Yes, this countries to the center, while the countries listed, the details are to the right. The same here. So we have the right, and we have it here. Now, if you take a look at the grid lines, they are in broken lines. If it's not a solid line, then that means the grid lines are not turned on. That's why you can see them in broken lines. So I'm not going to turn on the grid lines. I think that's all. Yes, now we want to save. Okay, we are done with that formatting. The next question says, print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure that 1, it is in landscape orientation. 2, the row and column headings are displayed. And 3, all formulas are fully visible. Right, first, you want to turn on your formulas. Click on your formula. Come to the tool that says show formula. Click on that. It's fully visible. All right, so all formulas have been turned on. Before we go page layout, you want to change your orientation to landscape. Then still on the layout, you want to turn on the heading. That's for the row and column headings that should be turned on in the printout. So you want it to be visible in the printout. Lastly, you want to ensure that this is fully visible. Double click this. So we ensure that everything is fully visible. Okay. Could come in on this. We don't have formulas on this part, so we could reduce this back to what it is. Okay, here we have our formulas fully visible. Okay, every other formula, let's check. We have one D, we have one F. Okay, yes, that's fully visible. Let's check what the printout will look like. Let's go to the print. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think this is quite large, 12 pages. But just make sure that when you are printing out, you ensure that all your formulas are fully visible, because that is the most important aspect of this printout. The formulas should be fully visible. Wherever you don't have a formula, you can actually compress it. But wherever you have a formula, you want it to be fully visible. So let me double click on this where I don't have formulas. If I could just buy some space instead of making it extremely wide. Okay, here is a country. I don't have formulas. Okay, I might want to reduce. Let me be sure. Do I have formula? No. Okay. All right, that's country. All formulas are fully visible. Let's take a look at this again. So we have there. Yes, all my formulas are fully visible. I want to see if I could stick out on this. This last video we have yes or no. Can anything be done? If not, if it can't be compressed, then you don't have to force it to be compressed. But let's see if we reduce on this. Can that save it? Oh, I don't think so. It's still fully visible. All right, let's leave it. Your printout, so long as your graders can see the formulas, that's the most important part. So your printout must carry all the formulas. So let's print this to PDF. Printing in landscape orientation. Ensure your row and column headers are visible. Are they? Yes, they are visible. Let's print that out. I'm going to call that printout 1. Printout 1. Alright, PDF, save that. Let's take a look at what that printout will look like. Printout 1. Okay, here we have it. All formulas fully visible. We have the first formula here. We have the count. We have the count. Okay. Here we have the counts. Yes. Then we go down. Other formulas. Okay. Here we have the VLOOKUPs. VLOOKUP. I think that's about it. Once that is printed out, make sure it is fully visible and it is easy to read. Right, now the next question says select rows 1 to 7. So we want to turn off our formulas now. So we go back to formula, turn this off. Alright, let's ensure. Okay, we are back, but some things have been altered. Let's bring this back to size. Bring this back to size. Okay, critically endangered. Yes, 2 lines, 3 lines, all fully visible. Okay, yes, that's fair enough. Okay, I think we're back. That's exactly how it was. Now the next question says select rows 1 to 7 inclusive. What are we going to do with that? And only the rows between 8 and 26 where a citing took place. Rows 1 to 7 inclusive, and only the rows between 8 to 26 where a citing took place. So let's first take care of this before we do the selection. You want to go, sorry, who am I? Alright, now we come to rows 8 to 26 where there was a selection. How do we ensure that there is a selection? You know, if you have sightings, if you have 0, that means there was no sightings. So how do we eliminate countries where there was no sightings? You want to use the filter tool. So we want to turn on the filter. You go to your data and you turn on filter. Now once you click on the filter, you're going to see this little drop down menu here. Here you could just turn off, take away 0, so every other thing will be displayed. You click on OK. Okay, so here we have the countries where there was actual sightings, and we want to highlight those rows down to this point. Now what are we doing with those rows? Pardon me. Okay, now take a screenshot of the method you used. Select those rows. Okay, citing took place. Now take a screenshot of the method used to select these rows. That's between rows 8 to 26, and place this in your evidence, screenshot in your evidence document. Okay, so we are having 2 things. Print this selection showing the values only. Let's take a screenshot of that first. How we were able to select, that's the filtering method you used. So when you go back to the filter, you could just do a screenshot of this. Let me do a screenshot of that. Okay, yes, we're screenshotting this. Let's place that in our evidence documents. That should be what's question now. Okay, that's step 11. Step 11. Okay, that screenshot is pasted there. I haven't pasted that. Now print this selection showing the values. Make sure that the printout fits on a single page. The printout is in portrait orientation. Row and column headers are displayed, and the contents of all cells in the selected rows are fully visible. Okay, so we are going back to the spreadsheet. First, we want to change orientation back to portrait. Still the selection. The row and column headers are still selected, so it's still going to be visible. Alright, now we want to go to the print preview. Let's click on the print. Okay, now you want to change to just the selection. Print selection, only selected parts. Okay, now that's fully visible. It's in portrait, and we can print that now. So let's print. I'm calling this print out 2. Okay, let's check what the printout is going to look like. Printout 2. Okay, there you have it, fully visible. But now you can see that it's not formatted the way it should be, so I'm not going to take this. Let me go back and quickly make some adjustments, because it should display in the right formatting. So let's highlight this again, and let's take. Okay, now this is displayed the way I want it. Print selection. I'm going to replace printout 2. Yes. Now let's take a look at that again. That's why it's good to have your printout somewhere first before you actually do the final printing. So now this is visible. Okay, just the way it should be edited. To the right, we have 3 lines here, all edited to the right, here line to the middle. Okay, so we are good to go. Now let's go to the next question. Oh my, that's the last question. Here we come to the end of this particular spreadsheet solution. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen, and if you do, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and click on the notification bell so that when I drop a next video or any other video, you will be notified. So this is basically how you go around the spreadsheet question, and I believe those of us who are watching this could also find some applications in our real world usage. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. And before you leave, for students who are preparing for the exams, ensure to practice. Don't just watch this video, do well to practice. Until I see you in my next video, stay safe.